2018 has been one of the best years for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, regardless of what most people think. This year, we've seen the start of consistent, major content updates with many new maps, remakes, panorama, new weapons, player models, and most importantly, a drastic uptick in official communication from the CSGO team, specifically on Twitter. That said, there is the obvious question still looming in the air. Where's the operation? In years past, we've never heard much from the CS team, and much like many other Valve projects at Valve, the information we received was either through leaks found in updates or the updates themselves. Operations, being the large themed paid content updates, were the bulk of the communication. And even though the communication has moved, the operations haven't. Op 8 Hydra was released in May of 2017, and that was the last time we saw one. And what we need to remember is the gap between Operation 7 and 8 was the longest at that time. Obviously, the gap between Op 8 and Op 9 is longer, but the less frequent nature of these updates speak to Valve's value perception of the content. Keep in mind, this isn't TF2 though, a game whose major content updates have been following a similar trend of expanding waiting times. Whereas Team Fortress 2's team continues to work in silence and has remained similar size for years, CSGO's team is growing, both domestically and internationally. First, as tweeted by Camposanto hire Jane Ang, quote, "CSGO needed out of their sardine can, so we gave them our Mount Rainier view." The size of the team demanded a larger office space, so the In the Valley of Gods team traded rooms. Second, Steam China has been officially signed by both Valve and Perfect World, further expanding the partnership between the two companies. Around the same time, Perfect World announced their quote-unquote official CSGO ceremony with competitions and awards. The expansion into the Chinese market is an amazing thing for CSGO, as the player numbers eventually expand many times over with the new, previously untapped player base. Now, due to both of these, the general value ceiling for CSGO has raised dramatically, and the recent uptick in everything for CSGO is explained. Now, that isn't to say that we're not going to be seeing another operation. We definitely will, especially considering a lot of the work going into the game over the last year being kind of described as transitionary, with many changes being done to fix, improve, or fill out the game and bring it more to modern standards. With the bulk of that work finished, we can now take a look at the many leaks that have been happening in these updates and communities that point towards what the next operation will hold. First, realize that most of the information we have on upcoming content comes from 4 updates that did very little for the live game: May 31st, 2016, January 12th, 2017, June 20th, 2017, and July 8th, 2018. These 3 updates alone will paint 95% of the picture I am presenting in this video, and we'll be going through them chronologically. In May 2016, the update that pushed the first series of collectible pins, we had leaks regarding a compound bow, which is a new weapon that allows users to fire arrows, attach grenades to any arrows, has the user hold down the fire button to pull the arrow back, have 2 types of fire being heavy and light, along with each arrow being a projectile, not a hit scan. Taunts being first or third person animations a player could play at any time, however being restricted to casual type game modes such as deathmatch and arms race. These taunts can play on respawn or a button press, and have specific CVARs related to camera positioning, FOV, and loop time. Taunts have seen future updates, being seen again in January of 2017 with pitch, yaw, and speed controls for the taunt cam, and again in June of 2017, which we'll discuss later. Wearables, being player cosmetics you can obviously wear, is something that has been tried a few times, going as far back as 2013. However, back then, it was almost an exact port of the TF2 cosmetic system. The modern wearables system was first seen in this update, allowing users to attach cosmetic items to the torso, face, eyes, head, hands, and lower body. Player paint kits were also referenced, and the modern cosmetic system was used, technically, with the player model refreshes that we've been seeing over the last few years, as the new models actually are made in pieces, and in the files are referenced as custom player items in the exact ways the original leaks were. Obviously, gloves have happened, and yes, it uses this system. That said, this allows for much more we have yet to see. Lastly, are references to items grouped within a new game mode first seen within this update called Survival. Sonar pulses, bare fists, and crate beacons were all seen within strings that are prefixed with Survival. Crate beacons specifically allow for crates to fall out of the sky, and a beacon to be seen both in the world and on the radar. Now, beacons also leaked with 3 multiplayer commands, allowing to change the number of beacons in the game, which, speculation, seemed to be based on distance from the beacon. Crate beacons were later seen in the January update, allowing for players to insert money. Now, this confuses me, so speculation. Also leaked in the May update were references to money and money bags, these being separate from the money seen in normal gameplay. There is another game mode that leaked slightly earlier called Heist, which involves stealing money and money bags. Up until now, I've assumed these money items were from Heist. However, it's now likely they were used in both, allowing the player to collect money when playing survival survival and spending it on items from crates that drop from the sky. This update also teased paid sprays. Great. In the January 2017 update, which pushed the Atlanta major items, we had leaks specific to survival mode, discussing gameplay systems such as combat radius, combat and radius phases, and in-game notices to each phase change with a set last phase. This was also around the time the map being developed for survival was teased, then called Survival Island. There were also references to Adrenaline, and although they did first appear in the May update we talked about previously, it was originally just ported from Left 4 Dead 2. In January 2017, Adrenaline leaks continued and became slightly tuned to CSGO, with commands that changed screen effects when Adrenaline was active, along with how long it lasts. We also saw references to 2 new maps, Arms Race Bologna and DE Glass, along with new references to the moneybags. In June 2017, we saw more references to survival, specifically referencing the amount of players left alive and many survival-specific items, including drones, sonars, supply crates, and armor. Now, although these items remain connected to survival mode, all of these specific references are prefixed with BR, which speculation stands for Battle Royale. There's also a single reference for placing armor on chickens and general medkits. Keychains were also seen in this update, being a cosmetic item players can place on weapons and watch them jingle as the player moves, with specific designs teased, being AK-47s, bananas, bloodhounds, grenades, plasma balls, and sugar skulls. Then, silence for over a year, the longest amount of time between major leaks in CSGO history. Obviously, there were leaks, mostly pertaining to Panorama, but nowhere near the amount that we saw in previous updates. That was until July 6th, 2018, where survival mode was seen for the first time also in over a year. Originally only seeming to be a single reference to a new map, as the matchmaking CVAR for survival mode defaulted to a map called MGXL Enclave. That said, within the flash file for UI elements, which at the time was being phased out through Panorama, HUD icons for a spatula, hammer, spanner, axe, smoke beacon, and bear trap were also leaked, located in the same area as other usable items, and speculation likely being items seen and used in survival. As for the update leaks, that's where our story ends. However, that isn't it, because on November 8th of this year, an image was posted on VK showing a Valve employee playing this Enclave map on a beta development branch of CSGO. I, however, didn't believe it, but I do my research, and I found the employee's email and just asked if the image was real. When emailing, Valve servers must have stripped the image, as I received the reply, quote, "Hi Tyler, I don't see the attached image, but it may have been consumed by our mail system. I'm going to assume that it's a screenshot of my Steam account playing Counter-Strike though. At the expense of my invite box exploding, I can confirm that it's me. Take care." I told that short story on stream, which got clipped and went all over the place. After the information was spread around, I got a second unprompted email. Quote, "Well, I confirmed that that was my account. Anything beyond that is just speculation." And lastly, exactly as I write this, a second image was taken from the same Valve employee playing a completely different map called Survival Black Site, something that I've never seen before. I'm not sure on this one, but hey, some interesting things are going on.